Alright, progress on the off-grid cabin here. Showing how the roof treatment works. I'm cladding everything in metal, but you can see how I'm using this 1x board as a spacer. So when I've got this kind of old funky metal that I'm using as a wall covering here, what I do is I space that out from the Tyvek, which again is a layer with the that's a layer away from the wood, and then I doubled up the Tyvek quite a bit, and so I have that doubled up on here, and then we cut it away from the window. Have a lot of space on this one for trim, but the metal is a cladding over everything else. And of course, up on the roof sections, I do it a little thicker so that when I'm running screws through a lot of stuff, they get a lot of bite. It's screws holding that on, and then the screws that hold the metal on kind of go into that. So there's a lot up there. Here I just use a nail gun, and some of these, as I started to warp, wanted to pop out. But the screws would go all the way through to the wood. I'm probably going to put a couple of screws to pin this back and kind of unwarp it. And then you can see I doubled up the roof with tar paper. I really don't want it to leak, is what I'm running into on that. Over here, there was a lot of caulking on that window, so even though there's no round flashing for that, I've done a lot of caulking on these things. And again, the metal's spaced out from that. And one of the things I'm finding is that really helps is the advice I got from a guy at Home Depot on fire protection. And right now it's nice and moist and humid out. We've had a little bit of rain and some cloud cover, but we've been in forest fire season, not specifically here, but close enough that we've seen the smoke and the haze and in a distant sky lighting up the sky. So we've had a fire season here. We've been cutting fire breaks, cutting the bottom branches off a lot of these trees, and moving, areas away from here. But what they've had rolling through a lot of the hills is basically what could best be described as super fires. And so with this, at the ground level, which, let's say if I weren't here for a while, and we had a brush fire, a common brush fire, not a big super fire, we've got this metal cladding that's spaced out from the building, it's spaced out from the wooden deck material, and it can absorb a lot of heat without transferring that to the wood and then starting a fire. Now, my cedar trim could have a problem and maybe burn away or smolder away, and obviously it's not entirely fireproof. But the idea is to have some, defendable resistance. And if there were, let's say, a water bomber, we're surveying the area, one, they could probably see the building from the sky. It's somewhat camouflaged, but not totally camouflaged. And, I hit a water on this, it'll run off, and of course get down into the wood that I want protected. One hit from a water bomber should be enough to protect this if it were to need it. If not, then obviously I have a problem. The Ondura roofing is, partially a camouflage thing, partially not. A lot of it had to do with, I was able to obtain this metal material late in the game. And there's a guy at the bamboo place in Portland, Oregon. He's built buildings using older metal, and I kind of like the style when you put some nice trim on it. Okay, that's the idea. Is you're mixing a little bit of new and old, where it's kind of a moonshiner shack with a little bit of style type of styling, and part of that is to involve the metal sheathing on there. You can see the multiple layers of roofing material, the metal sheathing being the outermost layer. And so far, with the light rain we've had, no indication of any leaks. But there's a lot of layers of stuff up there, and I'm a little worried about whether or not some screws had penetrated all the way through, which I'm sure they did, and then had to get backed out and going into another spot with it. But there's a lot of metal, and I think I can caulk and seal that. We didn't even have any leaks going through a full season when it was just a wood with a green tarp over it. So I think I'm in pretty good shape, but there was a few mishaps with trying to drive screws through the old metal and the old spots, and then the screw goes in, it kind of gouges the material underneath and then didn't stick. That was, so we back it out, use another screw or screw it in another spot, and hopefully those don't turn into a major problem. But what I did was seal a lot of the old screw holes with liquid nails, which is really good stuff. I've used liquid nails to seal the wood here and a lot of gaps and corners, a lot of spray foam on a lot of gaps and corners in order to make it bug and vermin resistant. The front door isn't all that secure, and it's mainly because I've got security people out here, not so much, we're not relying on a lot of unmanned security. And that gives me a different dynamic as far as that goes. So I had a mouse problem when I arrived, but we dealt with it. I got a really good mouse trap, which will be the subject of another video. This is, of course, the mobile off-grid power system that I built in Portland, Oregon. My old Isuzu Trooper, which is no longer street legal, it barely runs, and but it works well in four-wheel drive, and I'm just kind of using this as a get-around ATV type of thing. But it's kind of nice to roll up the window and not get full of weather. Where an ATV, you're kind of out in the weather all the time. And I can move a little more cargo in it. We've had some road improvements, so I'm able to get here in two-wheel drive, and it's a little fun with the Trooper. And I leave it in four-wheel drive anyway. It's not supposed to be going to town, and I've left it here for people to borrow, but that's kind of for on property. It doesn't idle right, and so we don't want it going off property. Another thing I really, really wish I had done is the window over here. I really wish I'd put one in that would open. And I've had ventilation problems upstairs, even though on the other side I have a window that opens. You got to have air flow through, cross through on the air. And I thought I was going to get a good little chimney effect through the staircase. Doesn't work. I've got to cut and put another window or vent or something on the side of that one. And so I got a solar vent, and it doesn't get enough sunlight through the side to work that out. And I have absolutely no intention of drilling any holes in the roof. So even a fireplace chimney in that, it has to come up the side and come out through that side. You'll notice I designed a lot of roof overhang into everything. There's some other sections I have to add right here for roof overhang on the Ondura. Not sure if I'll have time to do it on this trip. I need to leave in a day or two. This represents about 2 weeks of work since the last series of videos. And I was not working the entire 2 weeks. We had triple-digit temperatures. I spent a lot of time hiding inside with ice in the because I have power now, I was able to run a refrigerator and have ice. And then, of course, the freezer gave out, or the fridge gave out. Probably it was a combination of this system not producing power all the time, and then there's an issue with the inverter I'll discuss in another video. But this is it, the progress on the off-grid cabin. I've been hesitant to upload videos between the start and this point because there was some people on YouTube, some cyber stalker types who like to send regulatory agencies after people. But we've double-checked the law in the jurisdiction where I'm at, and we can go 400 square feet without a permit. And as long as it contains neither a kitchen nor a bathroom, it's okay to have a sleeping quarters in a camp building. It's also okay to keep mobile portable kitchen and bathroom stuff. So I've got a grill. The fridge doesn't work right now, but I'll probably have a 12-volt one I bring up here and put in somehow. And all the bathroom stuff is going to be in a separate building for the other people that will be hopefully setting up here. Hopefully we get more people. We've got space for other buildings, other cabins. One family brought a camper trailer up here, which I'm not too incredibly happy about. I really wanted to see the off-grid cabins and the creativity and the styling on these things. But that's the cabin progress as of late July 2014.